I'll find valid in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky.
Hello friends, it's Dara and welcome to my channel where I talk about books, whether that's reading or writing them. But yeah, today we are going to be talking about the books that I read in August. And honestly, I'm super proud of myself. I read a lot. Let's see, I read 11 books in the month of August. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of myself. You will find that almost all of them are historical fiction. That is just what I have been wanting to read lately, but I'm really enjoying all of my books. So let's go ahead and talk about them. I'm not going to go in depth, but yeah, let's just go through them a little bit. So the first book I finished in August was Educated by Tara Westover, and this one is a memoir about Tara's life and growing up with an interesting family dynamic. Her parents were doomsdayers, Mormon, ultra religious, and it wasn't a very healthy situation. As far as I know, they have an okay relationship now, but definitely had ups and downs. But experiencing or reading about her experiences was fascinating and horrifying at the same time, but I loved it. I gave it 5 stars for sure. The next book I finished was Big Summer by Jennifer Weiner, and I gave this book 4 stars. This one is a contemporary general fiction, but it also has like a splash of mystery in it, following one main character, but of course there's like people in her life. And so her best friend, they had a falling out, and then her best friend comes back into her life and is like, can you be in my wedding, and yada yada. So then they find her dead, the best friend, and people are saying, no, she just drank too much, she just drank too much. And her friend is like, no, she would not have done that, I think this is suspicious. And then they were like, well, it wasn't you, you know. So there was a mystery element to it that I was not expecting, and there was a slight love story in there, but it was not the focus. But I did end up enjoying this. It took me months to read this. I don't even know why. I just set it down and then picked it back up like 2 months later, but I'm counting up for August because I finished it in August. But overall, it was a good story, and I gave this book 4 stars. The next book I read, I got on Audible quite a while ago. It was one of their 2-for-1 deals. So for 1 credit, you could pick out of the selection of books and you get 2. So this one, I was not expecting it. I kind of knew what it was about. I knew it had something to do on the paranormal side. I almost said Paramore. If you know who that is, then you know. But it skirts paranormal. There's a character in there who's clairvoyant. She can see and talk to the dead, sort of. But we're following Lucy, whose son died in a tragic accident. And then she comes to help this older woman who is the clairvoyant. And it turns out that there's like all these characters that are intertwined, and it is really interesting how the story kind of comes together, or how they were all part of each other's lives without knowing. And I gave this book 3 stars. Like, it was entertaining, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't anything that amazing. Does that make sense? Like, it was good, but it was just like middle of the road good. It was okay. The next book that I read was The Things We Cannot Say by Kelly Rimmer, and this one is a World War II book. This one was so good. It is a family-centered story. This lady's grandmother is dying, and she is begging her granddaughter to go back to Europe, back to Poland. She says she wants her husband brought back. And they were like, oh God, she's losing it because her husband died not long ago, right? And the granddaughter is having marital issues. Her son is autistic and not very high functioning. He has a lot of struggle with communicating and stuff, and he is set in his schedule. So when she takes the trip, she's worried about things at home, and she's trying to figure out the history, more of the history of her grandmother, because she never talked about the war, right? Although she was there when it happened. But man, this book really took a turn. I loved the book. I loved finding out family secrets with the family, and just learning once again, of course, how devastating World War II really was. Like, and I still don't think we really have a full grasp on it. There are still people out there who have identities that are not really theirs. They used it to get away from Germany, away from the Nazis, and it's just really heartbreaking to think about what other human beings are capable of. But the ending was a good ending. It was happy. It answered all the questions that are brought up, and you find out about true love, friendship love, and everything comes together in the end. I really love this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Anything World War II, I'm obsessed with. The next book I read was Bring Me Back by B.A. Paris, and this book was so trippy. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So this one, this young couple, Finn and Layla, they are together. Oh man, I was just thinking about the ending. They're together, they're happy, they're in love, this and that, and they're on a holiday, and he stops to use the restroom, and when he comes back out, Layla is gone, like just gone, missing completely. And so then there's, you know, the hunt, not hunt, but the search for her, and this is all in flashback. When we start the book, it's present day, but in present day, he is actually with her sister now. And it's been 12 years, right? So 12 years later, he's with her sister. He wants to get engaged to her, and well, he's still thinking about Layla a lot, but he knows he needs to move on. So he feels pressured into getting engaged and getting married and stuff. Now, the twist on this book was actually, like, it was crazy. I was shocked. I caught on before the twist actually came out, but even when I was catching on, I was like, is that really what's gonna happen? That seems a little far-fetched even for me. So, but yeah, the twist was crazy. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And then I also read One by One by Ruth Ware. I have a weird relationship with Ruth Ware, right? I love some of her books, like Turn the Key. Oh, and The Death of Mrs. Westaway was amazing. There was another book though. There was another book of hers I tried, and I ended up DNFing. But this one I gave 3 out of 5 stars. It is a murder mystery, and it's kind of like the trope where there's a bunch of people in one spot, and then they just start dying off, and everyone's like suspecting each other, looking for the person with the highest motive. It was a whirlwind. It was only 3 stars because there were parts where I was kind of bored and like not really into it. However, in the end, it was a decent story. There was a lot of times where I thought I knew who it was, and then it was still kind of a surprise at the end. So it was good. If you like mystery thrillers, definitely pick it up. This one takes place up in a ski cabin, and then there is an avalanche, so they can't contact anyone in the outside world. And people just start dying, okay? And it's like horrific, but intriguing. And it was really decent though. So the rest of the books are all by Philippa Gregory. I'm on, like I said, not only a historical fiction kick, but Philippa Gregory specifically. So the first book I read from her was Tidelands, which I do want to continue that series. And this one, yes, it is in a series as well. So I kind of started a new series from Philippa, but I'm still waiting on the next one to come in from the library. But this one, we are following a poor, uneducated midwife named Eleanor who is tempted by a forbidden love affair, but all too aware of the dangers awaiting a woman who dares to step out of the place society carved for her. So this one, like a lot of her books, have this theme because most of them are following the women in these huge people's lives. So like currently I'm going through Henry VIII's like 20 wives, but each book is around the wife point of view, and some of the wives are very submissive and they understand their place in the world, right? Because back then in the 1500s, they had pretty much no place except in the bedroom, giving birth, you know, stuff like that. So this book really took it to a new level though, because Eleanor is like, I really want him, but I know I shouldn't because it's like against the rules and yada yada. I just love a strong female character so much. It's amazing. I love seeing them fight back, literally the patriarch, because these all take place over in England, and most of them are centered around the king. So I will show you the other Philippa Gregory books that I've read. Yeah, so I also read all of these. I read in order. It would be The King's Curse. This is where we first get to know Henry VIII. Three Sisters and Three Queens. This was probably my least favorite, I think, this month. And then came The Boleyn Inheritance, and then The Other Boleyn Girl, which we all know about because of the movie probably, but she just is like the queen of historical fiction, especially in this era where we have started from Prince Edwards to King Edwards, the Plantagenets, to the Tudors, and I'm just looking forward to continuing this crazy long royal line. So it is really interesting and almost magical. Like, there's no magic. There are some hints at not witchism, but like practicing witches in some of these family lines, but I am into it, and I can kind of just like picture it back then too, in the 1500s. They had witches, and you know, it just really fits the time and the space. But yeah, that's it. That's what I read. I say that's it, but that's a lot. I'm currently still reading Philippa Gregory. Oh yeah, this one is a free copy. I got damaged, but that's fine. I'm still currently continuing Philippa Gregory, but I've also started a mystery thriller. So let's just see where fall takes us. I have a fall TBR video coming up soon. It's already recorded. I have to just like edit it and put it up. But I wanted to get to you my August. Goodbye summer, hello all things fall, spooky pumpkins, you know, and it's our last fall on Guam, so it's gonna be fun. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've read any of these books I've talked about, or if you're interested in them, in the comments, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.